Welcome to another 5-minute religious education recap video. We're on the exam board Eduqas. We are studying a world faith and in particular emphasis on Judaism, and we're looking at the section of Jewish beliefs. Today's session will focus on the nature of God and in particular the Shekhinah, and I'm hoping you're going to be able to explain Jewish beliefs about the Shekhinah by the end of this video. So first of all, the exam board, when talking about the nature of God, they want you to be aware of the idea that God is one, the creator, the lawgiver, the judge, and also be aware of the Shekhinah. Now, I've done videos on those top four. Today, we're just going to focus on the Shekhinah. So starting us off then, the actual key term or key word, Shekhinah, it means the place where God's presence rests and can be felt. Now, I've identified two key phrases there, rests and felt, and I'm hoping by unpacking these two phrases, it's going to help you to understand the Shekhinah a little bit more. So first of all, let's take that word felt. Well, Jews believe that God's presence can not only be felt in a synagogue, because that is the house of God, but also in the whole world, because God is omnipresent. So the idea is omni is all, present meaning here. If God is omnipresent, it means he is everywhere. So God's presence can be felt not only in the synagogue, but everywhere, because he's omnipresent. Secondly, Jews also feel that God's presence rests in Israel at the site of a destroyed temple. Now, Jews will gather at that destroyed temple. There's only one single wall left. It's called the Western Wall. And they'll go there to pray and feel connected to God because they believe that his presence rests at that site. And we're going to explore why Jews feel that in a little bit of detail. So let's link the Shekhinah to Moses then. Well, after receiving the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments on Mount Sinai, God tells Moses to build a tabernacle. Now, a tabernacle is basically like a little portable temple that the Jews can carry with them as they're traveling around looking for the promised land. Because God, he says, he wants to dwell amongst his people. He wants a relationship with his people. So in Exodus, it says, then have them make a sanctuary for me and I will dwell amongst them. So the idea is God's given a direct instruction to say, I want my presence to be with you. Now, as the Jews continue their journey, God actually guides them. His presence guides them and protects them. And by day, we see in Exodus, it says the Lord led the people with pillars of cloud by day. And then at night, the Lord led the people with a pillar of fire. So we find that the Shekhinah draws all the way back to kind of Moses and when they're traveling through to find the promised land and the idea of clouds guiding, fire protecting. Now, finally, after arriving in the promised land, the tabernacle, that portable temple, it actually becomes a permanent one. So the Jews actually create and build a temple dedicated to God, and God's presence dwells there. And this is why in the book of Chronicles it says the glory of the Lord filled the temple. So they finally don't have this portable temple anymore, these tabernacles. They have one site, the great temple in Jerusalem. Now the Western Wall, though, it's the only remaining wall left of that temple. And this is why Jews say the Shekhinah rests in Jerusalem, because if God's presence was resting there in that temple and there's still part of that temple left, then his presence is still going to be there. And the reason there's only a wall left is because there were various wars and invasions that happened, and various individuals managed to destroy the temple, leaving only that wall behind. Nevertheless, many Jews will still go and visit that wall in Jerusalem. They will pray there because they feel it is the closest place on earth that a Jew can actually get to the presence of God. So remember, his presence can be felt anywhere, but where does it rest? Well, it rests at that Western Wall, the site of that destroyed temple in Jerusalem. So, thinking about the Shekhinah then, it's also important because the Shekhinah, it teaches that, Jews can experience God through prayer, but also it connects Jews to each other in a community because all Jews are connected by that one God in that one community. Secondly, the Shekhinah, it allows Jews to experience God and also feel close to him, and Jews know that when they pray that God will listen to their prayers. And finally, the Shekhinah, it can also be used to refer to God's female qualities. So, for example, there's lots of instances in the Bible where God kind of, sustains and cares and looks after things. And often the Shekhinah can be used to describe that action of God. So I was looking at the book of Psalms and I lifted out the fact that it says here, he makes the grass grow for the cattle, the plants for the people to cultivate, bringing forth food from the earth. So in the book of Psalms, we see how God kind of allows the earth to grow for it to be used and to look after his creation of humans and animals. Now, you could use the word Shekhinah to describe that process, that God is allowing the earth to kind of provide for his creation. So again, Shekhinah showing those female qualities. Now, have a look down this key term list, see if you can link any of these to the idea of the Shekhinah. If you can do that, then you've been successful. If you find it a little bit tough, then obviously go back through the video. If you want to push yourself a little bit further, try some of these example questions. Whatever you get up to, best of luck and thanks for listening.